Today is the day, man. I feel like this is a video that has been a long time coming, at the very least since like 2019, 2020. I've been wanting to make this video, and today is finally the day, man. I love, and I'm talking about, I absolutely adore sports anime and manga, man. This is without question one of my favorite genres in this entire medium. I feel like every sports series that I've ever watched is a banger, and I look forward to experiencing even more down the line, which is why I want to make this video now before I go out and experience some more potentially this summer, because there's a lot of greatness out there that I have yet to experience. So if you do not see one of your favorites within my list, please recommend one of your favorites in the comment section down below, or leave your entire top 10 in the comment section down below. I would definitely love to read it. Now, a few disclaimers. This is going to be for both anime and manga, so it's like I usually separate the two, but in this case, because I've read like some of my favorites in anime, some of my favorites are in manga, I just decided to put them together, and I'll specify whenever I get to the number which one I experienced, whether it be the manga or the anime. Now, there are two series that I didn't know if they classified as a sports series, so I left them out. And that's March Comes In Like a Lion and Kono Oto Tomare. Two series that I absolutely love, but I didn't know if they really classified as sports series. That one of them is more like a slice of life and the other one's more like a drama / romance. So I was like, you know what? I'm not sure if they're classified as sports series, so I left them out. But if they are a sports series, they would most certainly be on this list. There is no question. Both of them, right? Both of them. And then currently on my to read / to watch list, just in case for anyone who's going to put anything in the comments, this summer I definitely want to read The Climber, Kokuo no Hito. Definitely want to get into that. Want to watch Major. Shout out to Streito-sama. Definitely going to be hopefully watching Major this year. We'll see. I'm not going to make any promises, but definitely want to watch that. And then I want to watch Run with the Wind. Shout out to my boy Laz. And then, of course, want to finish the greatness of Haikyuu. So, and Blue Box. I got to catch back up to Blue Box, because that one's been really great as well. So that's on my like to read / to watch list. If there's any other series, like I said, leave that in the comment section down below. But without further ado, let's get right into the list. Starting off, no honorable mentions, man. We're going in straight to the top 10. Starting us off today at number 10 is going to be a Madhouse series, which is going to be something you're going to see quite frequently on here. A Madhouse series. It's called One Outs, man. I did not expect this series to leave a long-lasting impression on me when I initially got into it. I had never even heard of this series until I was searching up, when I was in a Madhouse phase. Y'all know how much I love Madhouse, man. That is my favorite studio ever. It's between them and like Gainax and, you know, those legends. But I love, and I mean I love Madhouse, right? So anything that they've ever produced, I'm out here trying to watch it. And so when I was in that phase, especially in like my peak Madhouse Tard mode, I watched this series and I really, really enjoyed it. It's a lot of mental games with this one, but it was so much fun, bro. I mean, going from episode to episode, you really didn't know what you were going to get into, considering that this really dealt with the underground, the gambling side of sports, and how that messes with the series, how that messes with the games. It adds so much tension whenever you have that level on top of it, right? So it made for such a fun experience, man. And I look forward to rewatching this one day, because I've only watched this one once, but I remember just absolutely loving it the first time I went through it. So shout out to One Outs, man. Coming in at number 9, oh yeah! Welcome to the Ballroom E Yoko. So every time a new chapter of this drops, my boy Sage drops the link, and I'm like, we're in there like swimwear, man. We are in there. This series, from the moment that Sii-chan, that Chinatsu gets introduced up until where we are, is so good. And I think my favorite aspect of this series is the visual representation of immersion. The way that both the anime and the manga, because I experienced both of them, handle the visual representation of immersion when you are in the zone, right? Like dancing, and you're like one with your partner as you're dancing. That the immersion, the way that they draw those sequences and showcase that visually is so good. It is so good, man. So I highly recommend this one if you have never watched it. But trust me, it's a banger. It is a banger, yo. Coming in at number 8, shout out to my boy the Jorge for getting me into this series all the way back in like 2013, man. Kuroko no Basket, dog. When I first went through this series, that was some of the most fun that I've had watching sports series, dude. It was going through the anime for those first two seasons and then reading the manga from that point on was just a blast, dude. I absolutely adored it. And then when the anime came back, when one of the greatest seasons of all time, I don't remember if it was season 2 or season 3 that happened in 2015. The same season as like Your Lie in April, Parasite, and like that legendary season of like there's a whole bunch of GOAT series. But I know Kuroko was in that one as well. And I think it was season 2 because I do recall around that same time that Magi was coming to a close, we had Aomine and Kagami's legendary zone battle, dude. Yo, Kuroko no Basket's so much fun because it has that type of Gintama effect to it where you really want to see the flashback. And you continue to get these bits and pieces towards the Generation of Miracles flashback. And when you finally get it, it's like, yes, like let's go, man. And the perfect timing, I really like that flashback a lot, but just getting to meet all the Generation of Miracles up until that point, and then of course with Akashi and whatnot. But shout out to my dog Kisei, forever will be a GOAT, man. Yo, the perfect copy, what? And then you had Midorima hitting Steph Curry threes from full court. I mean, yo, Kuroko no Basket, there was a lot of nonsense in it, but it was just so much fun that I couldn't help but love the entire experience, dude. It was great, and shout out to the final game and the fact that they're continuing to release stuff for this series is crazy. So shout out to Kuroko, man. Plus the openings for Kuroko no Basket, let me yo, they go in hard, man. They go in hard, definitely. Anime and manga both for this one, they both slap. They both slap, dude. Coming in at number 7, this is a manga pick. This is a manga pick, even though my first experience with this was in the anime, the one that impacted me the most was when I experienced the manga, man. Eye Shield 21. Listen to me, dude. There's a stretch in this series that I loved so much that when my boy Laz made his the draft where we drafted our the Weekly Shonen Jump chapters that we would love to have like in our own dream magazine, I believe it's chapter 154, the Senna chapter. I put that within that because that entire stretch is just, it's so GOAT, bro. Like, it is absolutely out of this world legendary, man. I love the game of football. I really, really do, just as much as I love the game of basketball. But this manga, the way that it was able to have just the dynamics of the team while also being really inspiring at the same time. Like, I remember I would read Ice Shield chapters. It was like when I was first going through it, and especially as I started getting like really, really invested, I was reading like 5 to 10 to 20 chapters a morning. And during that, after I finished reading Ice Shield, I was ready to go about my day and get everything done. I was so hyped for the rest of the day. Like, yo, we're getting this done, we're getting this done, we're getting this done. And that's just the type of series that it is, man. It made me want to get out of bed and just make something of myself. Like, it just always made me want to get up and do something and work on my dream and get closer and closer to my goals and whatnot, right? And it's just that type of series, and it has so many hilarious moments, and like I said, the dynamic of the team is so good. But man, Kobayakawa Senna, bro, that's my running back, man. That's my running back, dude. Choosing between the next 3, it was so difficult, man. I don't know what the final placement is, so I'm just gonna go, right? I'm just gonna go. Coming in at number 6 is a series that I read. I don't know if it was back in 2014 or 2015, but it was one of those I read in like 2 or 3 days. And this is another manga pick. The manga experience with this was so legendary. The final arc in this, aka the final game in this, is one of my favorite manga reading experiences ever. It was so, bro, it was legendary, man. Number 6 is Slam GOAT, bro. Slam dunk, man. I didn't know where to put it because I was like, dude, because like I said, bro, from here on out, I mean, this entire list is great, but from here on out, this is like favorite of all time, like in all of manga type material, right? So, but Slam Dunk, dude, when I was first going through it, I understood why it was that this series is held in such high regard as a sports series. And I just couldn't put it down, man. It had this vibe, this energy to it that just screamed like 90s coolness, you know what I'm saying? Like 90s fire, you know? But the dynamics within the team, and especially my boy Sakuragi, bro, which I still believe is one of my favorite Weekly Shonen Jump protagonists, man. That man is such a GOAT, dude. That's my boy, that's my dog, right? But just the games. And like I said, as someone who really loves basketball, dog, experiencing those games I was sweating, man. I was sweating, but especially that final game. That final game is without question one of the greatest, like, final arcs that I've read. It was so legendary, dude. So if you have not read Takahiko Inoue's Slam Dunk, then I highly recommend this one, dude. Legendary. Legendary. Now we're getting the top 5, man. Now this was so hard, specifically 5 and 4, because the top 3 has been my top 3 for a very, very long time, but 5 and 4 was tough, bro. But like I said, 6, 5, and 4. They could have switched any position. But coming in number 5, when I initially experienced this one, it really left a major impact on me to the point to where I remember I was doing a school project at the time in college. This was back in like 2014, like 2015, somewhere around there. And I did it about this series because the character arc of Togawa from the manga Real, number 5 is Real. Togawa's character arc is just so strong. But specifically, it was really inspiring. Slash from like a creative standpoint, from like a writing standpoint, right? Where after experiencing that character arc and seeing not only just his, but the other 2 protagonists as well, and seeing how all of those journeys intertwine, specifically with, it's a sports series, but it's 3 character journeys, with the sports really being like the centerpiece of the 3 journeys, right? So the concept of wheelchair basketball, of course, is already interesting in and of itself, but how it affects and relates to those 3 character journeys was something I don't think I'd ever seen before done within a sports series, and it just caught me so off guard. I was in my Naoki Urasawa and Takahiko Inoue binge at the time, so like I read all of the series that both of them have put out, and Real, I loved it so much because of that. I think this was the last one I read too, so coming off of Slam Dunk and Vagabond, to see Real was crazy, because I got to see my favorite aspects of Slam Dunk with like the team dynamics and how you build the squad and build the crew, with the reflection side of Vagabond, the constantly having to reflect on your journey, your own life's journey and whatnot, and what led you up until this point, what mistakes you've made that you constantly feel regret over and whatnot. And so those 2 find a really nice mix in Real, and I really love this series. And when I reread it, because it's been a long time since I've read it, but when I reread it, I have a feeling it's still going to be one of those like top 5 material series for me. And I don't know if it'll ever be finished, but at this point, I don't even think it has to. It's the impact that it has left on me is already done more than enough, man. So shout out to Real. This one's a banger. Another Inoue masterpiece as far as I'm concerned. Coming in at number 4, Dome Fly. I love this series so much, and it is the only series on this list that I'm not like either caught up to or didn't get far in. And I've been with Haikyuu for a very, very long time. I've been with Haikyuu since like 2015, right? Like ever since the start of the second channel. Maybe even before that. I've been with Haikyuu for a very, very long time, right? But this is the thing with this series, man. Above all else, the characters and the moments in this series have stuck out to me for such a long time, dude. And like I said, I haven't even read the manga. I haven't even watched the latest season. But what I've gotten so far is just so memorable to me. the openings, the soundtrack, and above all else, like I said, the characters, man. I love these characters, dude. Karasuno Hai, those are my boys. You feel me? Hinata Shoyo, that's a dog. He's got that dog in him. Like, that's that dude. Hinata Shoyo, Kageyama, like, come on, they don't play with dogs. Don't play with them. And then my favorite character in the entire series, the only volleyball player on every antagonist 3x3. My dog Oikawa! Like, listen, man. When I was going through Haikyuu Season 2, and I'll never forget, I loved episode 24. I don't know, I think that video's still up on this channel. Episode 24, dude, was it 24 or 25? It was one of those. When Oikawa is just playing out of his mind, man. The point? Yeah, dude, listen, man. Oikawa, yo, because the thing is, right, with Oikawa's character, you get to see someone who doesn't have the talent. So, like, he has, like, the base talent that's necessary in order to start building the skills, right? Like, this is an individual who had to work for absolutely everything that he's got. And it makes you want to root for him. Because it's like, yo, you have this gifted legend in Kageyama, but you see how hard he works too. And it's such a great dynamic between the real king and the king of the court that you have in this matchup, where you have someone with raw talent that also works so hard, but then you have someone who works harder than anyone else. And it just causes for a dynamic that's so good. I'll always love Oikawa's character, and then, of course, there's other legends in the series as well, but specifically those characters have always stuck out in my mind as just being like, man, I love these dudes. And it's not just them, right? Then you have like Tsukishima and these characters that just, they have these crazy character moments within these matches that just leave you like flabbergasted. I mean, the author of the series is truly a genius. Like I said, this is the only series on this list where I haven't watched the latest season, I haven't read the manga, but it's here, man. And it's super high because that's just how much I love this series, dude. Shout out to Haikyuu, man. That's my volleyball series. That's my volleyball series. Now we're entering the top 3. These are all GOATs. These are all within my top 10 favorite manga of all time. Unquestioned. Undeniable. These are all within my top 3. So coming in at number 3, 3 and 2 have been switching, but now, after being away from both of them for so long, I feel like my number 2 is without question my number 2 now. And so my number 3 solidified now is without a doubt Ashita no Joe, man. Tomorrow's Joe. The story of Yabuki, Goatman Joe, dude. Now listen to me. I've only experienced the mangas in entirety. I've watched pieces of the anime, heard the legendary soundtracks, did all that, right? But when my initial manga reading experience on this one was so special, dude. I have a video on it on the channel. I mean, was it on this one or the old one? I think it's on this one. But this is one of those series for me, man. Like, you know, when you have a manga reading experience that just really impacts you, this was one of those for me. And I love the way this series is structured. For those of you who have not read it, of course, definitely highly recommended. If you're in it for the hands, this series has like 3 of my favorite fights in all of anime and manga. Like, without question. This has the hands of hands, right? Like, these are hands with a purpose. Like, you're rooting. You're like, yo, let's go, man. I mean, yo, the storytelling. What makes this series so special for me, man, like, just out of this world spectacular, is the character writing, dude. There's a stretch within this series that just, like, even now, attempting to talk about it, it leaves my mind just blown, dude. Because this series came out in the 60s and 70s. And the author was such a visionary that he created something that would not just impact sports, anime, and manga. It would impact the entire medium for years to come. So much so that after I read Ashita no Joe, I saw its influences in so many pieces of media that I had experienced up until that point. This series is truly something special, man. The character journey of Yabuki Joe is like S+++++ tier, man. Like I said, there's a certain stretch within this series, specifically when it comes to him, that is just so good. It's out of this world, dude. The man's character journey, dude, it is goated. It's brilliant, bro. If you have never read or watched Ashita no Joe, and even if you do not like the old type of art style, I highly recommend this, man. This is a timeless classic that I feel that anyone can enjoy. Anyone. It's just that good. Shout out to Ashita no Joe, man. I have had some legendary catch-up experiences in my time reading manga, man. Some legendary catch-up experiences. But within the greatest catch-up experiences I've ever had is my number 2, man. Dude, coming in strong, walking in with a belt, the wind. Yo, man, Hajime no Ippo, bro. Hajime no Ippo. This series, it doesn't matter if you're experiencing the anime, in the manga, in English, in Spanish, in Japanese, any language, it's gonna be goated. It's gonna be goated. Listen, if you love hands, if you love fights, this series is my favorite collection of fights in all of anime and manga. If you love great character writing and great character exploration represented visually, this is your series. If you love goated choreography when it comes to the hands, this is your series. If you love incredible representation visually of what the characters are feeling, this is your series. What more needs to be doing is Hajime no Ippo, man. George Morikawa's masterpiece. A series 30 years deep, and he's getting so ambitious with it now that it looks like we're getting into the peak of the series. Or it looks like we haven't gotten the peak of the series. And we've had some of the greatest stuff ever up until this point. 1,300 chapters deep, and he still has a lot in his bag. Still has a lot in his bag. Yo, experiencing Hajime no Ippo for the first time is something that I will always cherish. I'll always cherish it. From season 1, which is so goated, bro. So goated. To going into season 2 with the Takamura and Brian Hawk build-up, which is just, that's one of the greatest fights ever, right? And then season 3, with that legendary final flashback and the Sawamura greatness, but when I got into the manga, it was like being enlightened. You know what I mean? Like, yo, reading the Hajime no Ippo manga from, like, what was that, chapter 550 up until when I caught up, which was like mid-1000s, was just, dog. Like I said, I feel like an enlightened being, dude. It was just so legendary. I remember I was so hooked that I used to have, at the time, there was like this manga app on the phone where you could download chapters on, and I was just reading nonstop. The family would be going to the mall, to restaurants. I'd still be reading Ippo, just nonstop, just Ippo. I think from like Miata Randy Boy Jr. all the way up until the Vogue Goatness. Dude, that entire stretch, I read that in like a day, man. It was just so goat, dude. Like, man. And it's still, like I said, it's still going in strong. It is still going strong, dude. George Morikawa is one of the greatest to ever do it. This series has so many great characters, so many great moments, that I feel like no matter what you like in anime and manga, there more than likely be something here for you. Because it's just that good. It is hilarious. The sad moments hit so hard. The epic and hype moments will stick with you forever. And above all else, like I said, it has so many memorable characters, man, that I just... Sendo, Vogue, Ippo, Miata, Taka, Goatman, Mura. I mean, what else needs to be said? It's Hajime no Ippo, dude. It's Hajime no Ippo. If you have not read it or watched it, you have to experience this series, man. This is one of those have-tos. It's not if you want to. This is, at the very least, give it a shot. You know what I mean? As I stated previously, I never really thought that anything would come close, let alone surpassing Hajime no Ippo and Ashita no Joe, because not only do they have everything that I love within sports, anime, and manga, I feel like just in what I love within fiction is represented so well, and I resonate so much with the content within these two series. These two are really, really special, man. I thought they would always be one and two to each other. But what my number one is a series that impacted me on so many different levels, man. I don't even know honestly where to begin. When I did my 25 Days of Santa Recon series, this was going to be, I think it was day 24, day 23, and it was going to be a very, very long video because I feel like this is going to be one of those series that if I ever write books on the pieces of fiction that have ever just impacted me the most, this is going to be one of the longest because I honestly don't even know where to start. And shout out to my boy Shadow, man. You know, there's certain things that happen for certain reasons that, you know, you just never understand until you get to that point, because the man has gotten me into so many of my favorites, but I don't think even he understands just how much him recommending Goat Haya Furu, Chi Haya Furu, this series right here, when I got into it in 2019, legit changed the course of just everything. It really did, man. At the time, I didn't even know what I was doing anymore, honestly, because I had reached the absolute lowest of the low in my point as from a career standpoint when it comes to my writing, and when it comes to experiencing stories. I had tried for so long after Gintama ended, all of those years, just getting into series, just trying to find some other things that I could enjoy as much as my favorites. And it got to the point to where I just started rewatching and kept rewatching my favorites. Like, I just kept rewatching and rereading all of my favorites because I just could not find a new experience that I could enjoy as much as those. And it got to the point to where I was like, you know what? Maybe I experienced the peak of this medium. Maybe I don't have to experience new anime and manga anymore because there's not going to be anything better than my favorites. And I was so wrong, man. And like I said, this is purely a time and place thing. But when I was at my absolute lowest creatively, and I didn't want to watch anything new because I was like, I've already experienced the very best this medium has to offer, this series came at the perfect time, man. And when I tell y'all that the initial experience of watching Chihaya Furu was special, I started episode 1 and it was just instant. It was instant. It was just like when I first got into One Piece, and it was instantaneous. Like, I love this. This is my jam. Like, there's something here that just resonates me on such a deep level that I can't explain. And I watched like the entire series in like 3 days. Up until that point, which was like season 2, episode 50. So I watched like 50 episodes in like 3 days. And I loved it so much that I even went back and I think I experienced it like 4 or 5 times that very same year. And what it led to was not only just revitalizing and reviving my love for experiencing fiction, in that after Chihaya Furu, I experienced so many legendary series, man. So many legendary series in both 2019 and 2020. Some of my favorites of all time. And that was all thanks to getting into this and realizing that I have not experienced the peak of anything yet. I'm just getting started. And then from a creative standpoint, I thank God every single day that I was able to experience Ayase Chihaya's character journey. Because picture for picture, panel for panel, frame for frame, bar for bar, that is the most I've ever resonated with a character. Because when I was that age, up until today, I resonated with that journey so much. Because when I see her, that tunnel vision only being with one thing: Karuta. Everything revolves around that, and nothing is going to stop her. Nothing. Win or lose, highs and lows, that's her life. I resonated with that on such a personal level, man, in regards from a writing standpoint. I've been that way for the past 10 years, and I never really found someone like that until I saw Jai's character. And it just meant so much to me to see that represented here, because the way that the author shows it is the good and the bad, the consequences, the sacrifices, everything that's required in order to succeed in your field, especially when you do not have raw talent the way that everyone else does. Chihaya only has one thing, and that's her speed, and she's slowly learned to take in all types of inspiration from individuals around her in matches, from her friends, from her squad, whatever it is. She takes in all of that and has continued to improve as a player through experience and through learning from others, keeping an open mind. And I resonate so strongly with that, man, because even though I've always had a sense for the writing thing, my skills are so terrible, man, but nothing's gonna stop me, right? Like, I just love this so much. And so when I saw that within Chihaya, it gave me so much hope, especially where I was at the time, where I continued to see no improvement. I couldn't get what was up here onto the page. No improvement. But I had certain things that I knew that I was doing right and that I could improve upon from those base things. And so when I saw Chihaya's journey from simply just being someone that can grab one card with her speed up to being a contender for a queen, it was just, I don't even know what to tell y'all, man. It impacted me on such a personal level. And then you take that and all of the different life lessons within this series, all the different character journeys within this series. It has my favorite supporting cast, I would dare say, in all of sports, anime, manga, one of my favorite supporting casts of all time. Mizusawa, man. Yo, listen to me, dude. Mashima Taichi. Mashima Goat Man Taichi might have like a top 3 character arc I have ever seen with an anime and manga. It is so beautiful. Then you have my favorite version of a character that comes in halfway through the series and messes everything up in Hanano Mother Flipping Sumire. Hanano Sumire, man. I absolutely love her character. The way, whenever I see individuals like Sumire and Desk Tomu, who are individuals that have no business, should have no business winning any types of matches with the skill set they have, and they still end up trying so hard to win, you just want to root for them, dude. And I love the way in which the series handles that. I love that it doesn't cut any corners. You're gonna win, you're gonna lose. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with it? And I love how that's explored through every character and how they all handle victories and losses in different ways. And this is the thing, man. Then you go into the rivalry of legend, Wakamiya Quinobu, and the other rivalry of legend with Wataya Arata. And so what you have here is all these different dynamics, all the different characters, all these different teams. And what it just creates is for just masterclass stuff, man. I love this series with every fiber in my being, dude. It has everything that I love within a story, from the rivalries to the life lessons to the moments of inspiration to the my MC hype moments to the most emotional moments. Yo, my cry counter for the series is like times 1,000,000, and then it's just as high as my hype counters for the series. The character moments, the writing, the everything. The way that it's shown visually, both in Madhouse's representation of it and in the manga version, everything that I could possibly say positively about Chihaya Furu, it is there. And that is why, in my manga list, I think it is number 2 all time. Second only to the best-selling manga in history for me. And that's just because of the impact that this series has had on me personally, but also because it came at the perfect time when I needed it most, man. Sometimes there are series, there are encounters. I feel like every fictional experience is an encounter, a potential encounter for something really special that can have a potential impact on you, right? And this series for me was one of the greatest encounters I have ever had. You know, I don't know where I'd be without Chihaya Fudo right now, man. And it led me to getting into so many incredible series. And one of those series was the Trails series. That was in that stretch of me just experiencing so many incredible pieces of media. And the combination of Chihaya Fudo and Trails, with witnessing Chihaya's journey and Rin's journey, it just solidified the fact that I knew this is exactly what I wanted to do once more. It was that further solidification that this is what I want to do. Come failures upon failures, this is what I want more than anything. Because in the same way in which we get those moments of immersion when Chihaya's in a match and nothing else exists, you get those moments of euphoria or performing your craft at the highest level that you can possibly perform it at. There's nothing else like it. And so this series for me means the absolute world. And that's why it's my number one. Goat Haya Fudo, man. I can't wait to see where this... I know the series is coming to a close later on this year, but this series is incredible. And I highly recommend it to anyone, even if it doesn't resonate with you personally. This is one of those that I would recommend to anybody who just loves anime and manga. Because even though it is about Karuta, it is about a card game, the character writing, the lessons, all of that is so strong that I feel like you could still get enjoyment out of it, even if you aren't into the game of Karuta. Because I know I didn't even know what Karuta was before I got into this. And now it's my favorite sports and anime and manga series. So until next time, like I said, leave me your list down in the comments down below. I will see y'all then. Peace out.